Hi, welcome. Welcome, everyone. I'm so excited to be here to talk to you about spirit today. Over the next few weeks, I'm virtually spending some time with you to dive into those challenges and the questions that you've been having about your intuition and how to develop a loving and trusting connection with the other side. So, if your goal is to deepen your understanding of your gifts, to expand your intuitive senses, and get more clarity in your life and purpose, then make sure that you've liked the page, that you've followed, and most importantly, that you're getting notifications so that you won't miss when I'm answering your question because the algorithm. Okay, so today I'm going to be talking about what you can do to get your spirit guides and your loved ones on the other side rallying around you when you're trying to connect with your intuition. So, see, your intuition actually comes from your spirit guides and your loved ones communicating with you. Okay, so this is really important. So, that's where the impressions that you're picking up from are coming from. They do have a source. So that the more that you're welcoming your connection and acknowledging it and you're building on it, the more that you can practice receiving and trusting the messages that you're getting. Signaling is what we're talking about today, and it's a simple but effective technique that I'll be teaching you to help to engage your helpers on the other side so that they can show up and support you in a much more direct way when you need it. Okay, so that's the key. Before we get started, if you're new here, I want to take a minute and just welcome you. I'm Christina Wooten, certified psychic medium with SedonaMedium.com. And I help people to elevate their life by connecting with the wisdom and support of the other side. If you're just joining us, I'm talking about how you can encourage your spirit guides and your loved ones who've crossed over to rally around you as you practice receiving and trusting your unique intuitive connection. Now, if you joined me last week, because I'm trying to drop in and do this every week for the next several weeks, so if you joined me last week, we talked about the importance of sending that message out to the universe that says, without reservation, I'm ready for this. I'm ready to build a loving relationship with spirit. I'm ready for this shift. So if you're watching this live, in the comments, just add in there, I'm ready for this, or you can just put ready. But I think anytime we can really reaffirm over and over again with your spirit guides that you're saying, this is where I'm choosing to go. And the more that you do that, what that helps your guides do is continue to guide you along that path to support you in giving you the knowledge, the information, the shift in your energy, the revelations that you need to actually make that happen. They can, when they understand that you're really serious about that shift, they can sprinkle that in. If you're watching this on a replay, you can just put replay and ready also. Okay, so let's start talking about signaling. So when you're connecting with the other side, you need lots of support. So you need your helpers to be able to understand that you're ready, that you're relaxing, that you're making yourself more receptive for what's there for you for things to be revealed. But the important thing to know is your spirit guides don't read your mind very effectively, okay? They read energy and your actions and what you're communicating directly with them. Okay, so in the beginning stages of really syncing and connecting with your guides and creating a new relationship with those on the other side, when you're asking them to show up, when you're asking them to help you and to communicate with you, you need to build on direct communication with them and signals. So if you've ever had a reading with me, you've seen a signal, but maybe didn't know that it was a signal. So you may have heard my opening prayer. That's an example of a more complex signal. So that's letting my guides know, all right, it's go time. Everybody gather around and let's get started. So that's a complex signal. We're going to be doing something a lot more simple today, a lot more manageable. So a signal is something that you do that indicates that you're welcoming communication and that you're trying to communicate with those on the other side. So it can be something very simple. It should be something that's easily available to you in different environments, perhaps, and something that you can repeat anywhere at any time, generally. So some examples of effective signals might be lighting a specific candle. Not just any candle, because if you start in with just any candle, next time you're, lighting for a candlelight dinner, their mom shows up and grandma shows up and your spirit guides show up, and maybe that's not the best time for them to be popping in. So doing something that makes it a little bit more intentional, a little bit more specific, like using a specific candle holder, that can be really great. You can get ones that have like little angels or angel wings, something that just defines more clearly what your focus and your intention is. And when you light that particular candle, that can be a signal. Okay, so being more specific, not just we're lighting a candle, period. We're lighting it with this candle holder. That's going to be a more effective signal. In truth, it can be any candle holder that you choose. It can be something, glass and simple that you have around or from the dollar store. It doesn't have to be fancy. You don't have to go get things. Just make sure that you're setting that intention that this particular one is what you're using to signal your guides. Another might be if you have a meditation room, an area, a yoga spot, and you have a certain area that's great for connecting. Maybe you have a little meditation chair, or maybe you could put a chair there. And anytime you sit into that space, that can be a place for you for connecting. Or you could try doing things like putting on a specific crystal necklace. I know some healers who do that, where it's just a simple quartz on a simple chain, and whenever they're getting ready to get started, here we go, we're placing it on the body, and it's a signal of I'm stepping into that higher self energy and I'm stepping into this connection. Or you can try placing a certain special crystal perhaps in your left hand. So let me use this one because I've used this one before for different things. This is a little spirit quartz. And so you could just place that in your left hand, and that can signal that you're wanting to connect. And the last example I have for you is taking a deep breath in, a strong exhale, and saying out loud, I welcome my guides. What I want you to think about in terms of signals is your ability to replicate it in different environments. The one downside of having a specific chair in a specific place is that, say you're going to travel for a month, that might be a little challenging. So using something that's a little bit more portable, like a crystal, a necklace, a candle holder, something small that will work for you, is maybe a little bit easier, depending on what your lifestyle happens to look like. When you use the same signal consistently, it clearly communicates to your guides and to your family in spirit that you're there for them, and you're going to take the time to drop into a more receptive state, that you're here to practice listening and allowing impressions to flow into you. So once you have your signal set up, then you're going to indicate that to spirit. Let spirit, see, hey, this is my signal. When I do this, gather around everyone. It's go time. This is what it means. I'd like to welcome you. So every time I pick up this particular crystal, I'm only going to pick it up when I'm trying to connect, and I'm going to pick it up in my left hand. And when you see that, when you feel that, and you know it, that's when I'm trying to connect with you. So use it consistently. Don't use it for other things. And what you'll notice is that your guides pick up on that really quick, especially when you're direct with them and then you're using this signaling. So I want you to take a minute and take a deep breath and let me know in the comments what signal pops out for you the most. So Is it using a candle? Is it sitting in a certain area where maybe it's more calming for you? Is it using crystals? Is it using the breath or using something simple? Welcome my spirit guides. Or if you have another signal that maybe feels right for you, share it in the comments, because you may have an idea that would help someone else and benefit them too. So if you'll add that into the comments, don't overthink it. But what stands out? What pops up in your consciousness? What I think is interesting is that overthinking with connecting with the other side is one of the biggest challenges, because so often our answers are right here on the ready. And then our mind starts, taking us in another completely different direction. And then we end up overthinking, and our first impression is usually the right one. Okay, so if you have a particular signal that popped out for you today, if you'll add that into the comments, okay? And you can start immediately once you have set up your signal, okay? So what I want you to do today is, if you want to continue building that loving, that trusting relationship with your guides, with the other side, look at what you have available to you today. And I want you to just decide on a signal. I don't want you to overthink it. I don't want you to get stressed out about it. It doesn't have to be the perfect fancy thing. Okay, it doesn't have to have the perfect energy to it. Okay, those things are blockages. All your guide needs to know is that you're ready, and that you're signaling to them that you're ready and that you're listening. And that's the important part. So you can start using it immediately once you've decided on what your signal is. So let's see, Elizabeth is saying using sacred frankincense and holding a crystal, a herkimer. Oh, a herkimer is a wonderful crystal for this. Their herkimer diamonds are very, very clear quartz crystals, and quartz amplifies energy, and it also represents herkimer diamonds in particular represent clarity. So it's a very nice one for your work. I love that. Thanks for sharing. In time, as you use your signal more and more, start paying attention to how the energy changes around you when you use your signal. So as you get more adept with it, and your guides get more clear, and your loved ones get more clear on exactly what you're wanting, what you're needing from them, what kind of energy they need to build around you, as you both get better, excuse me, at that process, then you'll start to really notice how the energy shifts around you. Sometimes it's lifting you up. Sometimes you might feel a sense of heaviness, like the room got a little bit thicker, or maybe you're feeling those around you. So just pay attention to that, because that's another way to ultimately begin to develop knowing when spirit is around. Once you start calling them in consistently, you know that they're getting the message. They're going to be showing up for you. You start to pay attention to, what does that showing up feel like? When that happens, then you can start to recognize when they just happen to show up spontaneously on their own in some ways to support you. I love Sai. Thank you. Deep breath in and out, and holding moonstone. Moonstone is beautiful. Thank you. I love rainbow moonstone. That's so nice for very divine feminine kind of energy, and great for intuition and third eye. Okay, I have time for a question or two. So if you have something for me that you'd like me to answer, I'm going to let you just drop that into the comments for just a second. So pop it in now, and I'll pick a question or two. Sorry, I've got something like stuck in my throat. I'm not sure what happened there. So in the meantime, while I'm waiting to see if anyone has some questions, one thing I wanted to mention is, if you go to my website, sedonamedium.com, and if you'll be on the front homepage of that, just scroll down a little bit and you'll see this image, what is your intuitive superpower? And just click the Take the Quiz. And that's going to take you through a series of about 10 questions that's going to help you to narrow down your dominant intuitive language and then be able to support you in growing and developing how spirit is communicating with you. So you'll get some tips afterwards to help you understand your unique connection so you can lean into that a little bit more. So that's at sedonamedium.com. Okay, let's see. Okay, so Elizabeth says, how long do you sit for to connect? That's a great question. In the very beginning, I suggest to sit for a short period of time because you're building the stamina in your upper chakras to begin with. You're also building your tolerance. So the more that you sit and you're in a receptive mode and you're listening, if you haven't built up a tolerance for that to begin with, you're going to start stretching out. So your mind is going to start wandering a bit. You're going to start pulling things from here and here and here. So it's a good idea that of course interferes with your ability to receive and to receive accurately. So in the beginning, start with maybe 5 minutes, and then you can slowly build up to maybe about 10 minutes or so. It depends on what you need and also what fits into your lifestyle. If you're having a hard time sitting in the beginning, if you don't have yoga experience, meditation experience, or just allowing yourself to receive type of experience, then start with just a few minutes and then build up to the 5. But I think 5 is a nice window. You get through that initial period and stage where you're getting into the right frequency, and then after that period, you can transition into truly receiving more information, okay? And the 5 minutes will also help your guides and your loved ones be able to prioritize what it is that they need to send you. Okay, so it teaches them to focus on the priority so you don't get lost in all the extra stuff, especially in the beginning. Okay, so great question. Thank you, Elizabeth. Any other questions before we go? And make sure over the next few weeks, I'm going to be talking about intuition. I'm talking about building and growing your connection with your spirit guides, growing your connection with those that have crossed over, and how you can just make yourself more receptive, more open, and more welcoming to a really loving, full, generous connection with the other side. So I'd welcome you to just follow, if you like the page, connect with us at Facebook, Sedona Medium, on any of my social media channels, so that way you can join us. You can ask any of your questions that you have about intuition or places where maybe you've gotten stuck in the past. I'd love to be able to help you with that. Okay, it looks like we've covered everything today. Thank you so much for joining us. And I know that your spirit guides and those on the other side are very excited to see what signals you're going to come up with, and make sure that as you choose that you say out loud, that you communicate, all right, this is what we're doing. I look forward to hearing more. If you want to add later to the comments and let us know what you chose or send us a picture, I'd love to see what you decide on. Everybody have a wonderful rest of your day and a great week, and I'll see you soon.